Welcome back to World Traveler Cooking, where we cover interesting cuisines and interesting dishes from around the world. Today we're going to make Kartoffelklöße. These are German potato dumplings, and we'll make them in a Bavarian style today. Many people do put stale bread in the middle. This helps them cook a little faster and guarantees that you don't have an underdone interior, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to make a solid potato dumpling. Our ingredients actually are super simple. We'll have a little bit of salt and a bit of water in addition to potato starch and potatoes. I have 800 grams of mealy, starchy potatoes that I have boiled and cooled. And then I will use some potato starch with it as well. Again, recipe will be in the description, so if you need to know the measurements, just check that out. So you really should probably use a potato ricer for this. If you don't have one, in theory you could probably use a food mill or something similar. I would definitely not recommend trying to do this with a potato masher. But you get a different texture from the final product if the potatoes are forced through a small set of openings like this. So a food mill might work, but a potato ricer is the best tool for the job. So by weight, it's 4 part potatoes to 1 part potato flour. So that's for 800 grams of potatoes. That's 200 grams of potato flour. And we're going to stir this in. Now if you are, now there are people who do this with a mixture of raw and cooked potatoes, but that's not so typical in this area. The texture comes out pretty similar though. So if you're trying to make, like for example, Lithuanian cepelinai, and you're trying to cut down on the work, you might try this basis and see how it works for you. Anyway, what we're then going to do is we're going to knead this together into a fairly dry dough. Now we will knead in water a bit at a time. We expect to be around 160 to 180 milliliters. That's like 2/3 of a cup. We want to make a really sticky dough. Well, it's already sticky now and we haven't added very much. So we'll just keep adding more, and I'll be back when most of this is worked in. I'm now going to set some water on to boil. Once it boils, I'll add salt and I'll turn the heat way down so that it doesn't continue to boil. And then I'll form the dumplings and add them in. In the meantime, I'm just going to let the dough rest. Alright, so we have boiling water. So, salt. Remember, salt will make it boil harder, faster, quickly. Maybe a little more. And then turn the heat way down. I'm going to leave this off. And I'm going to start just a test one in to start with. So here's just a test dumpling. Hopefully it'll cook in like 5 minutes. I'm just going to gently let it sit in there. I just want to make sure it doesn't fall apart, and then we have a good texture, and then we can correct. Actually, I think I forgot the salt. I better mix the salt in. It's like 1.5 teaspoons. My test looks done. It was starting to float, so I will taste it, and then I will probably have the rest. The test had good texture. So in come our actual production run. So these are starting to float, so they're just about done. I guess I'll do a taste test, then I will come back with some photography. And now for the taste test. Normally these would be eaten with gravy, but I'm just going to eat them straight because I want to see how these came out. The texture seems right to the fork. These are actually really pretty authentic. There is a slight difference in the texture as you get towards the middle. I think that's why people add croutons sometimes in the middle, but it's fine. Made this way, yeah, they're just They're soft, they're chewy, they're delicious. So if you find this content interesting, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this video, please let me know in the comments. Recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.